going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Action Sunday. And this week is a very special, long overdue video. Shout out to Sal because this movie, I've been trying to look long and hard for it, and finally I was able to find it. And of course, I found a whole trove of more movies. So thanks, Sal. Now I know where I need to go if I'm trying to look for something to kill time or something like that, right? But anyway, let's get down to business. Today, I'm looking at the movie called Street Night. This came out in 1993 and stars Jeff Speakman. Now, if anybody doesn't remember who Jeff Speakman is, he's yet another martial arts star. Doesn't say kind of the same vein as Billy Blanks and Michael Dudikoff, like to have their own cult following that, and they have their own status or because of how they work. But anyway, you get my point. Speakman is studied Kempo karate, which is the sister art form to Taekwondo, which is what I took. So yeah, little history for you there. In this movie, he plays a guy named Jake Barrett, he's an ex-cop. We find out that he left the force after this case goes horribly wrong. He becomes like a mechanic or an informant in the city of Los Angeles. And while that's going on, you got something a brewing in between these two gangs in L.A., which of course I feel like a little insensitive here. We got the Latin Lords and you got the Blades. And I'm like, wow, talk about things that will not fly today. But somehow there's this other gang or a group or something like that. And there's a whole thing. I don't want to give much away. I feel like as the movie goes on, you find out a little more about who these people are. But the main villain is this guy Lieutenant or Sergeant Franklin, who's played by Christopher Neame, aka Johnny Alucard from Dracula AD. So yeah, there's another reason why I had to watch it, because I met the guy ages ago. He was such a cool actor. This is the same, like I said, same guy who played Johnny Alucard. And here he plays a much more sinister villain, and I love it. To me, I feel like his performance almost steals the entire steals the entire movie from Jeff Speakman's character. And of course, yeah, that's saying a lot. It's was it with me and loving villains that just steal the show. When I mentioned last night when I was reviewing Fast X, Jason Momoa fucking owned his role and stole the show. Fast X. Here, it's wow, what is it with great villains like this? I don't know. Is it something that I'm missing out? That's something I want to do, and maybe that's something I should talk about in a future vlog or something. But man, I just really love this whole thing. But things get real crazy. There's also a pseudo mission that he goes on. One of the gang members is missing. Turns out he's this girl's brother, a girl that somehow he's kind of has some infatuation with, or she has it's really weird. It's they were trying really hard to show a romantic foil, this more typical action cliche fodder kind of thing. Got the good guy, got the classic bad guy, then you got the love interest who just happens to be happens to have a brother or a relative that in one of these gangs. It's I feel like I've seen something like this before, but I felt like it's done differently, if that makes sense. But here, my goodness, it takes some time. I love that most of this stuff kind of builds, but I feel like some of the pacing is a little awkward. Also, I don't know if it's just me or just the version I was watching. Well, it might have been YouTube. I felt like the speed or aspect ratio was a little too quick for me. I don't know if it was just made the movie fly by a little quicker, but I'm wait a minute, whoa, slow. At times you're hold on, slow down, give some time for this plot to breathe, give some time for this budding romance to breathe. Also, give some time to see, okay, what's next for these villains. And I really feel like they do a really good freaking job. Man, I just really like this mysterious villain. They leave the best stuff till the final 25 minutes to finally realize, oh, holy shit, who is this guy? Yes, he's former force. He's former spec forces or on cop or something like that. It's really interesting. And then there's goes much deeper than that. There's more corruption. And they're doing all this crazy stuff. And yeah, it's your typical stuff. Then the final shootout or final fight takes place in I was shocked. I was half expected it to be your cliche warehouse fight. No, it was in a train yard, and I was okay. I see where this is going, but there was so many twists. It's like, oh my God, so many close calls. Do you think that Barrett, Jeff Speakman's going to get killed? And you're like, wait, who's that? Who's that working in the shadows? Did he just get saved by someone? Kind of thing. That's the only thing I want to spoil here. But man, the final act really brings it home. And, the typical classic, okay, everybody parts their ways. The guy gets the girl. That, again, your typical action fodder. And in a way, I feel like, again, I felt some of it was forced, some of it was not. It's just a weird dynamic kind of thing. And besides that, again, LA, your typical setting. But again, I don't think there's not much else I can say about it. Like, I enjoy it. Like, if you wanted to kill time, really good for what it's worth. Love the fight scenes, especially one, which I'm about to blow your mind, folks. There's a fight between him and this guard who has locked the girl that he's trying to protect or help out in a shipping container. And of course, he says, "Hey, you're only like an inch taller than me." And then upon doing further digging, I just realized who the fuck this big, tall, muscle-bound guy was. Now, here's something. Normally when they get someone, a big, tall, muscle-bound, kind of like enforcer type, you're thinking, oh, he's got to be a pro wrestler or a powerlifter. Turns out he was a pro wrestler. Not just any pro wrestler. Tom McGee. If that name rings any bells, folks, it's the same guy that wrestled Bret Hart in quite possibly the greatest match that you never saw. And any wrestling fans, go find that fucking match right now. It is amazing. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, wow. And like it worked really well. He was completely unrecognizable seeing Tom McGee just fight Jeff Speakman. It is a good match. Sure, it was like a 5-minute brawl, but with like something crazy shit happens. A little over dramatic parts. But man, just seeing that just had my mind completely blown. But wow, just incredible stuff. But in the end, like I said hits all the typical action fire. Steve Pinkman is fine for what it's worth. I feel like some of his acting is a little one at times. But again, this is something I was kind of expecting. Even though I know power hindsight, it's like his acting career didn't last much longer past the 90s. Although he would make an occasional appearance here and there. Not to mention he has his own dojo. I think I mentioned that when I reviewed The Perfect Weapon. But man, to me, I feel like this movie is like up there, one of his best ones. Even though, again, his acting credits are short. But to me, I feel between this and The Perfect Weapon, those are the best ones out of the bunch, in my opinion. So if I had to give Street Night a score, this is a tough one because I want to rate it a little high, but to me, what bogs it down is like there were again some of the aspect of the story, story and the pacing and phoning in a lot of the typical cliches kind of drag the score down. So I'm gonna give it a solid 6 for now. But maybe over time, maybe it'll grow on me. But again, it's like there's stuff that you would still grow to expect in an era of a bygone era. Your made for TV, VHS kind of era movies, the B movies, like I said. Again, they're not great, but you can still find enjoyment in them, okay? Between this and anything with Roddy Piper, it's out there. But yeah, all right? So that does for today. Give this movie a watch. It's available on YouTube. If you want me to, I'll leave the link to the guy's channel in the description below. Give it a watch if you want to. If you love to see Jeff Speakman, but if you find something on that channel, you'll have a blast. All right. So that does it for this week. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for some more awesome and exciting videos.